for the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Bienvenidos todos. Throughout the conference, make sure that you're using the hashtag BuildingCHCC, as all of our social media activity will be on display on the tag board screens that are on the main walkways. I know you're all very creative, and we'll have a lot of interesting posts, but don't forget to use the hashtag BuildingCHCC. Also, make sure to check out the Business Expo that is going on all day, today and tomorrow. Now, to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance, please welcome the Chairman of the CHCC Board and a good friend, Mr. Frank Montes.
Do we have a flag? Okay, we'll look at the screen and that's our flag. Okay? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. So I guess they gave me a script, which they should never do. But anyway, acting like it. Oh, yeah? I don't need it. First of all, thank you everyone for being here at the 38th Annual California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce Convention. I see a lot of energy in this room throughout the whole convention, so give yourself a round of applause, please. With everything that's been happening throughout this state and nationally, this was a special convention for me. As an immigrant myself, my parents, when they came here, the first place they hit was Fresno. They were picking fruit, doing what they can do to bring us here. So when I see the industries that are represented here, it really hits me special because we've been getting hit hard. The Latino community, the anti-immigrant thing, you know, but look at us now. Look where we are. We're going to continue to move forward, and the way we're going to continue to move forward is working together. Working together and making sure that we have a voice here in Sacramento and DC and everywhere throughout this nation. Globally also. But today we are recognizing our businesses, our small businesses throughout our 4 regions, Central, Northern, Inland Empire, and Southern region. We have so many great people here today. We have a business owner that was challenged about a month ago, Benjamin El Lotero. I don't know if all of you have heard of that one, but he fought for his business against him. That's small business right there. That is going to be one of our future leaders in business. I can't wait to see El Lotero stands everywhere. In fact, I want him to come down my street. You know, but getting down the hill is going to be the problem after. But thank you, everyone. Thank you. Like I said, there's so many emotions going through me right now. So many things I want to say. But all I can say is welcome. And thank you for being a part of the 38th Annual California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce Convention. I can introduce. And I have the pleasure of introducing a great leader that thought he got away from us, but we brought him back. Our President, CEO, Julian Canete.
So I don't know if that was Frank Montes or Tony Robbins. Got that little mic thing going. Hey, real quick, gotta ask someone, if we kind of like United Airlines and other, like, we kind of overbook. If you have a seat open, I won't drag anybody out, don't worry. But if you would be kind enough, if you have a seat next to you, raise your hand, because we have some people who need a few seats. So if you have a seat next to you, raise your hand so staff can see, and if it's open, they'll fill it in. So thank you.
They're not here.
How's everybody doing? Well, it's number one, good to be back home. For those that know that I've been here before. Yes, thank you. And I'm enjoying here. I've enjoyed the last 3 weeks immensely, and I'm excited about the future beyond 2018 and moving forward. I will be short because staff told me, Jules, it's been a long time. You talk too much. But I do want to talk a little bit about today's International Trade Day. And we've had a couple sessions that went off, and some sessions that are going to happen later on tomorrow as well. But on international trade, a lot of people expect the state chamber, the state Hispanic chamber, to be, because of who we are, the gateway, of course, to South America and Central America and Mexico. And we should be, and we will be, as we continue to work on programs and resources for our small businesses so they can take advantage of those trade opportunities with our neighbors to the south. But more importantly, as many people know, that 95% of the population of the world, the consumers, live outside of the United States. And we need to make sure that all of our businesses here in California are able to take advantage and sell to those consumers. So the state chamber now, in regards to international trade, we need to be looking forward. We need to be looking 3 years ahead of time, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, and the new opportunities that are being created in Asia and throughout the entire world. So I look forward to us leading that charge in the coming year and beyond. I thank Carlos Sorzano. Where's Carlos? Carlos, raise your hand. He chaired the International Committee, so thank you. And where's Julio? Julio Garcia? Julio? Who was also on the committee for my board of directors, so thank you, Julio. We appreciate it. We did a session on cannabis this afternoon, right? And as I told them when I went in there to talk to them, I was a little bit disappointed in the session. Not in the attendance, not in the quality of panels, but there were no free samples. Right? If there were free samples, we would have had everybody here in that cannabis session, man. I'm telling you, right? So maybe next time, someone remember to bring samples. But the whole thing on cannabis is the fact that cannabis has become a regulatory compliance industry. Not just selling weed like some of us guys are doing. And that's what we want our business to know. We want to know the opportunities that exist within that industry. We want our chambers to be able to go into the communities and advocate to ensure that those opportunities, those entry points are kept open, and that government does not close off those opportunities to our small businesses. And that's what this session was all about. Getting to understand the regulatory environment, but also the importance that if it's going to be legal, we need to be in the game. We need to be part of that growing industry. And so that commitment from this organization to all of you to make sure that in any type of those opportunities, we're going to be there to advocate on behalf of our businesses. So with that, one of the things I said earlier before I started, and I'm taking too long, I need to call Frank Montez and Sam Driggers, director of the West Coast MBDA Export Center, to come up on stage. As I said, one of our goals is to make sure that we have resources in the area of international trade. And so, one of the things we're going to do here right now is sign an MOU agreement between the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce and the MBDA West Coast Export Center in regards to the fact that we will work together, we will share resources, share programming, communications channels, and opportunities for all of our business owners. So, if I have Frank and Sam. Now, I used to work with Sam in a previous life. And, Sam and I actually, he's the guy that wrote the grant to get it here in California. And I was glad to always work with him on that grant. So it's something that we want to make sure continues. But again, we want to make sure that all of our businesses have those resources that the MBDA Center brings. So, gentlemen. So I don't know, Sam, I think we have a couple minutes. Do you have anything to say?
How is everybody out there? Good. How's lunch? Good. Has anybody tried the dessert yet? Thank you very much, Julian. Thank you, California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. There's a great opportunity, not only in Latin and South America, we heard that today, Manny, we talked about that today, but there's also opportunity for Hispanic businesses in Asia. La Tapatía tortilla company is a perfect example. Did you know that you can buy their products in Korea? Do you know Koreans love tortillas? They love Mexican food? There's a whole huge market in China and Asia for that as well. So there's products and opportunities everywhere. And so we're looking forward to working with you, your chambers, and your businesses out in the community and bringing resources to the community to help grow jobs. So thank you very much and enjoy lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Those are saying, get off stage, get off stage. Real quick, Manny Rosales, I gotta introduce some of our past chairmen. Manny Rosales is here. Manny, stand up.
He's standing up.
Out the chair. Thank you, man. Andrew Luciano, past chair. Where's Andrew? There he is. Joe Partida, past chair. Where's Joe? Over there. Ken Macias, now the chair of Meadows. Ken, please, Ken. Did I miss anybody? No, not. Just real quick. You know, I always say this, is that, you know, each chairperson that ever served this organization has had something special they've contributed. You got to remember, this is our 39th year, our 38th annual convention. These are the individuals, along with present leadership and Frank Montez, that have kept this organization going through good times and bad times. And trust me, guys, we know we've had some bad times, right? And they've been there. They were committed to making sure that this organization survives. So, you know, for me, it's really important that I acknowledge them at every annual convention and other events that they're at. Because like I said, each one in their unique way really contributed greatly to this organization. So please, another round of applause for all of them. Thank you.
So please welcome Veronica Corona, CHCC Southern Region Chair, and Julius Argumedo, CHCC Southern Region Director, to present the Regional Business Award for the Southern Region.
Buenas tardes. I didn't hear that. Buenas tardes. Julius and I have the pleasure to present the Regional Business Award for the Southern Region Chair for the Southern Region to Michael Mayor, or as I learned last night, Michael Maya of Brooklyn. Mayor Logistics of Los Angeles, California. Yay, LA. Of logistics. Michael Mayer is in his company, Mayor Logistics, inspires, motivates, and affects change in procurement practices. Michael communicates through action and involvement in creating procurement opportunities for Hispanic businesses. He has assisted in training young professionals or youth in his industry. Michael Mayor created the first logistics and supply position in Compton Workforce Development.
Thank you, Veronica. Michael has demonstrated leadership in the Hispanic business community and has encouraged business owners and individuals to join his local Hispanic chamber, the Los Angeles Latino Chamber of Commerce. He has been a mentor to the Hispanic Student Business Association at Cal State Long Beach. Michael Mayer's organization has brought wealth to the community, and he has helped empower Latinos and Latinas to be self-owned truck drivers. So we're very proud of that. Thank you, Michael. Please welcome the 2017 Regional Business Award recipient from the Southern Region, Michael Mayer of Mayer Logistics.
I wanted to thank the local Los Angeles Latino Chamber of Commerce and the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. I'm honored and humbled to accept this award and to join the past and present recipients. I look forward to working with many of our members in this upcoming year as partners and to continue to educate our non-members of all the inspiration that our chambers bring. I wouldn't be able to succeed if it wasn't for all the amazing people that I meet every week at our network events. Thank you.
Would not be complete without a selfie. Remember hashtag building CHCC and California Hispanic.
Thank you.
Please welcome Maria Urena, Inland Empire Region Chair, and Emilia Ramirez, Chairman, Greater Riverside Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, to present the Regional Business Award for the Inland Empire Region.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. We are honored and thrilled to have you here today, and we are here to honor someone very special. So I also would like to welcome the Inland Empire region. I know we have quite a few people that caravanned out here, so please give yourselves a round of applause for doing that and being here with us today. I do want to introduce to you Chairman of the Greater Riverside Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Emilio Ramirez, who will go on to tell you about this year's recipient for the Inland Empire. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. I am incredibly honored to be given an opportunity to recognize the amazing and extraordinary work of Mr. Brian Owens. Because on rare occasion, a strong advocate emerges when a community of the unrepresented, of the unheard, is taken advantage of by those seeking to profit from otherwise innocent but quiet voices. And the small business community of the Inland Southern California region was blessed when a strength of Brian Owens, attorney at law, came forward to volunteer his flawless legal expertise and unwavering aggressive protection. Just over a little over a year ago, several local small businesses were targeted by a fraudulent scheme to extort settlement payouts, claiming a gender price inequality violation of an obscure state regulation. So Brian selflessly volunteered his time, his energy by representing 11 Chicano and Asian immigrant-owned small businesses pro bono. And he has already seen success at trial in benefit of our small business community. It is an overwhelming privilege to introduce and recognize the work of Brian Owens who is a current and active engaged member of the Greater Riverside Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, as the Inland Empire Regional Business of the Year. In his activism, Brian is humble and does not seek accolades, but those of us fortunate to have a partner like him owe him this duty and recognition. Thank you for this opportunity to highlight the voice needed by our immigrant small business community, and thank you, Brian Owens, for helping. Brian.
La pequeña empresa es la base de nuestra economía y es vital para nuestro futuro. Cuando se ataca a una pequeña empresa, todos debemos responder. A year ago, I was honored to answer that call in representing several minority-owned small businesses in Riverside. My representation has resulted in not only having to represent the businesses, but having to represent other individuals, including myself, a leader of this chamber, and Ms. Sagun, the presenter today, who are guilty of only bringing these frivolous lawsuits to light. While I'm honored to be selected as the Business of the Year for the Inland Empire, I have done nothing more than answer the call of small businesses. The true rewards of my representation have been in creating relationships with the business owners and several individuals here, in gaining a further understanding of our minority-owned businesses, and in knowing I am protecting a community that usually is underserved. I would like to briefly discuss one issue affecting our Latino population because of the political climate we are in. So-called paralegals, notarios, and document preparers are attacking our immigrant population. Some of these individuals, who usually are not in compliance with state law, promise immigration relief that they cannot deliver, often because millions of immigrants have no viable legalization path. The community is not only losing money, but families are being separated because of the fraudulent action of some of these individuals. To compound matters, when victimized, many of these families are afraid to come forward out of fear. While we are actively litigating to shut down these consultants, we cannot unilaterally protect every immigrant in the state of California. To help end these practices and protect the community, we ask that you support AB 638. Muchas gracias por todos.
I hope everybody's enjoying lunch and building relationships, because through relationships, we're able to not only share information, but really help and empower each other. So I hope that today you get to meet somebody different and move forward with your relationships as you build your business and help us move forward with positive social change. Now there's going to be a break for you to enjoy lunch, and the program will begin again shortly. Gracias. To present the regional award for the Central Region.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jose Plasencia. I'm the director for the Central Region of California. Can I hear the Fresno region? San Joaquin, Sacramento, Bakersfield. Are you out there? All right. We do have some representation. And Tulare, California. Kings Tulare, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is in the house. We love to have fun here. You know, we're all Latinos. At any rate, it is my honor and privilege to introduce and to celebrate the Regional Business Award for the Central Region. A little bit more about this award first is that it's pretty hard to get this award. The process is that the name comes forward from directors of the regions, then goes to the board, CEO, chairman, and then we all vote. And let me tell you, it's a very, very competitive process. To tell you a little bit more about this year's recipient for the Central Region Business of the Year is my colleague and friend, Brenna Butler Garcia.
So I'm very excited to stand before you today and present this award. Not only is this going to one of my dear personal friends, but she is a professional colleague. Entravision Communications has really been a mainstay throughout the Central Valley. They have supported our Latino community. They have supported our Hispanic chambers from throughout the region. They've supported one of the largest student financial aid and college awareness workshops in the region, supporting over 3,500 parents and students in their collegiate dreams. And what Lisa and her team have done for businesses and our community throughout the Central Valley has really been quite impressive. So it is my great pleasure to introduce Entravision Communications and Lisa Sunday.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi. First of all, I wanted to introduce you to Entravision Communications because you probably said, well, what is that? Entravision Communications is a leading media company that reaches and engages in U.S. Latinos across all levels and media channels through our radio, our television, our digital properties and events, and data analytics. Well, what does that mean for you? We are one of the largest Univision affiliates. We also have Telemundo. We have our different radio stations, and we have our pool data analytics that work through your internet. So now as far as me and Entravision Communications and our Chambers of Commerce, the Entravision corporate family has learned many things throughout this past 20 years. I've been with our radio stations in the Central Valley for over 20 years. And most importantly, valuing our business community that we serve, our participation with our Chambers of Commerce, and in my case, the team through the San Joaquin Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, who is one of my, probably one of the best organizations that I work with. They're wonderful, they're supportive, we have built a team together, and when you talk about building a bridge, we definitely have built that bridge throughout the years. So it's an honor to work with Brenna and with the Chamber. Also, we look at our community and who we serve, not just business community, but through, like Brenna had shared with you, through our scholarship through the Latino community, not just Latinos, but all races, all genders. I'm not going to go, I have a speech, but it's easier for me to just talk. And I've taken my job with Entravision Communications very seriously. I am a survivor of domestic violence, and through that, it has taught me how to grow as a woman, as a leader in the community, and how responsible I need to be, and working with other people that have dealt with what I've been through, and also through not just our commerce, but also responsibilities in dealing with scholarships, teaching, helping other individuals to grow. The Hispanic Chambers of Commerce have allowed me to do that. And I ask one thing of all of you in these different chambers throughout California, Entravision Communications is a big corporation. And every year, I have to go to that board of directors and ask them, continue to give me the money or the support that I need to continue to bridge that gap. And I ask all of you to help me to ensure, as Entravision continues to grow as a United States corporation, but a worldwide corporation, that they continue to give me that so that we can bridge the gap, not only for San Joaquin County, but also throughout California and all of the other chambers throughout the United States. So thank you very much for this award. It's very thankful.
Please welcome CHCC Northern Region Chair and Interim Treasurer Raul Hernandez and CHCC Board Member Julio Baiza to present the Regional Business Award for the Northern Region.
Good afternoon, everyone. So far it's been a great convention. I understand that in prior years, some of the conventions we had to invite all our tios and tias to fill up the tables, but not quite today. As a matter of fact, we're at standing room capacity. I do want to make sure that you guys are having a good time and going to have it through tomorrow. But I do want to make sure that the Northern Region gives itself a round of applause because of the job that they've done so far. Please. And with that, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to our recipient, the Business of the Year Award here in the Northern Region. You're not going to find a more versatile type of business person. Mayra Perez, who happens to own Mayra or Perez Legal Documents business. She migrated to the United States back in 1997. Great dreams, great dedication, but at the same time she wanted to help out the community. And that's what she's done so far. She gets involved with immigration, tax preparer. She also, believe it or not, she's a minister in the county of Santa Clara. And before I bring her up, I want to make sure that I let Julio Baiza give you some of the words that because he knows her very well, and I want to make sure that he makes another set of introductions for her. So, Julio.
Gracias. Thank you, everybody, to be here today. First of all, I want to say thank you to all the sponsors, board of directors, and staff. Great job. Back again to talk a little bit about Mayra Perez. You know, that lady, she's been involved with the community for so many years. When we need something, she always stays present. That's very important to do that. So we have to give it back what we get from our community too. Okay, this is very important to do that. Muchas gracias a todos de veras por estar esta tarde aquí, para hacer participación de este bonito evento. Gracias a los sponsors, a todo el staff, a los directivos que hacen posible estos eventos cada año. Este es el 38 año de la convención de la Cámara del Estado de California, trabajando para un mejor futuro para todos los empresarios hispanos a nivel del Estado de California. That's a great job. That's a good job. Thank you. Like I say, Mayra has been involved for so many years in the community, and I believe she really deserves this award. Let me introduce her, please, Mayra Perez.
Hi everyone. I'm really so happy for my award, but I want to say my speech in Spanish because I have a lot of people see me on Facebook, and I want to say in Spanish. Gracias a todos por estar aquí, ¿verdad? Que estamos todos presentes. Estoy muy agradecida primeramente con Dios y con la Cámara de Comercio a la que yo pertenezco, que es Cámara de Comercio del Norte de California. Muchas gracias a la Cámara del Estado por hacer estos awards, que es un privilegio para cada uno de nosotros recibirlos. Gracias a Julio Baiza por todo el apoyo que me ha brindado. y mi business está dedicado especialmente a la gente hispana para ayudar a todas esas personas que tienen problemas de no entender bien inglés, y para eso estamos nosotros, para ayudarlos y que todos sus documentos o todo su trabajo que ellos necesiten esté bien hecho por nosotros. Estoy muy feliz de ser hispana y de trabajar con toda la comunidad hispana, y gracias a mi familia, gracias a mi babe que está ahí enfrente mirándome, gracias por todo el apoyo que me ha brindado y estoy muy feliz. Gracias.
Ladies and gentlemen, to share with us the CHCC's JFK University Online Leadership Program, please welcome Rhea Johnson, Assistant Director of Outreach at JFK University.
Good afternoon. I bring you greetings from John F. Kennedy University and Judy Castro, who is a member of your board foundation. We're certainly glad to be in partnership with the Chamber and wanted to share with you a little bit about a business leadership certificate program that was developed specifically for Chamber leaders and its members. I have a video that will go into a little bit more detail.
Welcome, bienvenidos. John F. Kennedy University, in partnership with the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce and California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce Foundation, is excited to announce the launch of the new online business leadership program, specially designed for Chamber members and affiliates. This course is offered in both English and Espanol. Some of the topics covered include governance, parliamentary procedures, strategic planning, program management, volunteer management, marketing and communications, financial management, fundraising, leadership, ethics, and entrepreneurship.
Hey there. By the way, make sure you take a look at this program. It's great, and we'll start with thank you. They're the ones that sponsored the program that you just heard about. Okay, the Honorable Hector V. Barreto is chairman of the Latino Coalition, one of the largest and most effective Latino advocacy groups in the nation. And by the way, we co-sponsored an event with him in late June. Thank you all for coming, those who did come. Hector is recognized for his successful business ventures, community leadership, government service, and a leading voice for the Latino community. He served 5 years as the administrator of the U.S. SBA. He serves as president of the Hispanic Business Roundtable Institute, a nonpartisan, nonprofit grassroots organization seeking to promote and advocate economic development and U.S. job growth in America. Barreto has been inducted into the Minority Business Hall of Fame. In 2006, he was presented with the prestigious Águila Azteca Award by President Fox of Mexico, which is bestowed for significant contributions to Mexico from a citizen of another country. He recently received the Latino Leadership Magazine Maestro Award for Entrepreneurship. He is the author of The Engine of America, a book dedicated to motivating and inspiring entrepreneurs through real-life stories and the winning formulas of successful national business leaders. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Hector Barreto.
Muchas gracias. Thank you, Jace, for that wonderful introduction. Me siento muy en casa. I feel very much at home. As I look around the room, I see so many friends, longtime partners, mentors, leaders, and I want to thank you all for being here and already making this convention the success that it is. I would be remiss if I didn't start with the leadership of this organization. I want to thank Chairman Frank Montes for inviting me, CEO Julian Canete, the entire board of directors, and all of the sponsors for this wonderful event. I am very excited to be here. I'm also excited to be joined by my bride, my wife, Robin, who doesn't usually get to come to these events. And I think it's important that she's here so that she can verify that I actually do some work every once in a while. So I'm very happy that she's here. And I want to thank Marin Rosales as well, our board member with Latino Coalition, and many other friends. Oh, I wanted to say this. I'm excited what comes after this speech, so I'm going to make my speech very brief. We're going to get to hear from Cheec Marin. Cheec, as you know, is a very well-known person in our community. He's been a leader for many, many years. I reminded Cheec that about a decade ago, I had the privilege to be at an award ceremony where I got to present this award by the Cesar Chavez Foundation. It was a great honor. And I told Cheec then, I had to remind him, I said, Cheec, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. There wasn't a lot of Latinos in Kansas City, Missouri. And I remember sneaking into the basement of my parents' home and listening to the Up and Smoke album. And it was so exciting, you know, a little Mexican kid in Kansas City to hear another Mexican talk about his life, his family, his history. It was wonderful. So very happy that he's here. Thank you, Cheec. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. Of this lunch is very important. It's about trade. And trade is very much in the news these days. You're hearing about all these trade agreements and what are we going to do with them and why are they important. And many of us, especially those that were at the panel a little bit earlier, you know a lot of this already. You know, these trade agreements can always be made better. They can be modernized. And right now we're talking about NAFTA. Right now they're having these discussions in Washington, D.C. And it's important that we have these conversations. But my message to the leaders that are negotiating these trade agreements is we need more trade, not less trade. Let me give you a couple of numbers. 97% of all businesses that do international trade are small businesses, but they only represent about 1/3 of all the trade dollars. So when you're talking about trade and improving opportunities, that is going to affect small business. Now, a lot of times we look to Sacramento and yes, even Washington, D.C. to help us set these priorities. But you and I both know that many leaders in our capitals, they don't really understand what we do. They don't really live the experience, you know, to sign that front part of the paycheck. And so it's really important that we take control of these things and that we're the ones that are advocating and that we set these goals. You know, we need to make trade more fair, we need to make it more open, and it should be a priority. Now, many of you know, especially in this great state, that Mexico continues to be California's #1 export market. And our neighbors to the south are purchasing about 15% of California exports. That's about $160 billion. Julian and Canete and I were recently in Texas for the TAMAC convention, the Texas Association of Mexican American Chambers of Commerce. And what we learned there is that Mexico is the #1 destination for Texas exports. Texas does about $233 billion. That's not an accident. They prioritize it. They work with their leaders, yes, in Austin, but leaders all throughout their state, and they prioritize it. We can learn from that, and we should do more of that as well. There are 125,000 small businesses in the United States that are selling some product or service to either Canada or Mexico. And that supply chain is critically important. So my message to the negotiators is we don't need to end NAFTA, we need to mend it and make it better. And there are a lot of opportunities to do that. Manny Rosales was talking earlier in our international trade panel. He was involved when he was the chair of the California Hispanic Chamber on advocating for NAFTA. But in those days, we didn't have e-commerce and the internet wasn't the factor that it is today. So we can add provisions to NAFTA, like e-commerce, like energy, and many others. And so that is something, again, that I think we can partner with California Hispanic Chamber to do. You know, I think that this theme is perfect, building bridges for a stronger tomorrow. My father, Hector Barreto Sr., many of you knew him. He was one of the founders of the great Kansas City Hispanic Chamber and later the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, used to say that that bridge should be named Sanchez to Smith. Because a Sanchez maybe in Mexico is selling to a Sanchez here in the United States who's selling to Smith, who's a government or a corporation. And so I think that we should remember that and we should talk about those opportunities, things that we can do together. I'm reminded when I come to this convention, and I've been coming to this convention for many years, off and on, for the whole time I've been in California, and I remember that in 1978, a group of business owners got together with this vision to start this great chamber. Today, California Hispanic Chamber represents the interest of over 800,000 small businesses. And by the way, to put that in some perspective, that's about a fourth of all the Hispanic businesses in the United States. As Hispanic business goes in California, so goes Hispanic business around the country. And so I want to congratulate you for that legacy of leadership and all of the businesses that you've held. And I'm also glad that Julian talked about some of the former leaders of this organization. That is something that's also special about this organization. They don't forget those that dug the well of the sweet water that we drink from today. We should never forget that. Sometimes our organizations, after somebody serves, you don't see those leaders again. But I'm very happy to see leaders come back every single year. That's a lesson that my father taught me when he started the Kansas City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. It wasn't enough for him to help his businesses and the local businesses around him. He wanted to empower a greater community. And through the work he did and other leaders, and I see one of his old friends here, David Lizarraga, many years of the work that he did, they've created this legacy. They continue to promote the good work of these chambers. And there's no better time than now. I agree with what Frank was saying, is that sometimes people ask us, is this the worst of times for the Latino community? Or could it be the best of times? And maybe the answer is both, depending on where you're sitting, depending on what's happening in your life and your business. It doesn't help sometimes when we hear these messages that come from some of our leaders about what they perceive our community to be. But we cannot wait or depend on them to get us or to understand us. We've got to advocate for the ways that we want to be represented. And that's why organizations like this, that's why organizations like this are more important than ever. I'm also reminded, and Frank was telling me earlier today, that how many young people have come to this convention. The leaders of tomorrow, and some of them are already leaders today. These millennials, they will continue to develop this great golden triangle that we have of economic power, of political power, of social power. So it's very important that they be here as well and contribute to this agenda for us going forward. You know, the people sometimes ask me, what is the Latino Coalition? And it's interesting because the Latino Coalition actually started in California. I knew some of the people that started it, that some of these folks were chamber members, but they wanted to have more of a voice in Washington, D.C. They wanted to have a seat around that table where important decisions are made. And so they started this organization, and they got involved with a lot of policy. After I left the SBA, I was asked to take the reins of this organization, and it's been an incredible ride. Over the last 10 years, we developed a nationwide network. Many chambers, but also groups that are interested in healthcare and education. And those are still the three pillars in the Hispanic community. Those are still the things that are the most important to us. But now, working in partnership, again, with chambers like the California Hispanic Chamber, we're growing this coalition. And this is a real coalition. You know, I look around this room and I see a lot of firepower. I see a lot of wisdom. I see the future, and the future is bright. So I see that glass as more than half full. But there's still a lot of work to do. You know, in Washington, there's a lot of groups there. There's a lot of coalitions. And some of them, as you and I both know, are smoke and mirrors. They really don't represent anybody, maybe a few people. And that's why it's so important when we come to groups like this and we feed off of each other and we learn from each other and we empower each other, that we continue to grow this. Because one thing that you and I both know is our community is going to continue to grow. Those 4 million Hispanic businesses that are generating over $700 billion in revenue, they could double every 5 years. We could have 16 million Hispanic businesses if we have the right environment, not only to start those businesses, but to grow those businesses in the long term. Some of you have probably seen some of the statistics that have come out lately. They're mind-blowing. A recent study by the Stanford Graduate School of Business said that if Hispanic businesses were growing as much as the normal average of growth for businesses are, we would add 1.4 trillion additional dollars to the economy. That's powerful, and that's not just powerful for our community, it's powerful for the country. We could grow GDP another 8%. And I remind you that our GDP has been stuck at about 1 or 2% every single year. So we really are at the forefront, this engine that is powering the economy. And this is probably the worst kept secret. Latinas are powering that growth. 5 times Latina luncheon, but Latinas, keep doing what you're doing. Anything that we can do to help you to access that capital, that capacity, those contracts, to lower your costs. It's not only something that's going to help you, it's going to help our overall economy and our country. So you are critical. Lastly, I will tell you that we have big plans for this partnership going forward. We have a major event that you're all invited to in Washington, D.C. on September the 14th and 15th. And we've invited leaders in Congress on both sides of the aisle. We've invited cabinet secretaries to come to us and to tell us what they're going to do to help us to continue creating that environment. We're not asking for a handout. In fact, we're making incredible contributions to this country already. But they need to hear from each and every one of you. On the September the 14th in Washington, D.C. at the Ronald Reagan Center, we'll have a whole day worth of activities. And we'll continue on September the 15th. And we're not done yet. 1 month later, we will congregate in Kansas City, Missouri. And I'm so glad that my good friend Carlos Gomez is here, another great Hispanic leader. This year is the 40th anniversary of the start of that chamber. And I know, Carlos, as you look around this room, you know you got some work to do, and I know that you're going to do it. This is a great crowd. Carlos told me he's expecting 1,000 people at his gala. And I will tell you that chambers of commerce from all around the country are going to attend that event. Not only does Carlos have a great party, and there's great people there, but it's important to come together and to continue this strategy and this advocacy that we're all so passionate about. You know, together, we've always done great things. Together, we've always helped ourselves make our separate parts greater than they were before. We've empowered our networks. Together, we share access to experts and to contracts. Together, we've helped facilitate more and more opportunities. It's how we continue to fuel this power and grow it. You know, there is a mindset. All of us love sports. And, you know, champion athletes have this mindset that they're winners. They're already winners before the game starts. And many of us should think that way if we're not already thinking that way. We're already winners. There's so much that we're going to do together. And I'm reminded of one of the founders of California, now Saint Junipero Serra, who said, siempre adelante, always forward. So my message to all of us today is, let's continue the great work we're doing. I thank you for everything that you've already done, but I especially thank you for everything that you're going to do, not only for our economy, but for our community. Muchísimas gracias. Era un placer estar con todos ustedes este día. Thank you very much.
So that he and Mr. Barreto can sign the Memorandum of Understanding between the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Latino Coalition.
We're going places, people. We're going places. Thank you.
LCC parliamentarian and executive director of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Silicon Valley.
This is a wonderful crowd. Buenas tardes. A few weeks from now, I'll be celebrating my 19th anniversary of working at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Silicon Valley. It's an honor, a blessing for me to have that recognition and that opportunity to serve. A few years ago, they gave me a little book with big ideas, and I wanted to share a couple of thoughts for anybody who's ever worked for a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce on behalf of a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Just a few nuggets. It was suggested members are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, if your chamber does good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, if your chamber is successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Be successful anyway. The good that your chamber will do will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. People said we cannot have a successful conference in Sonoma. You're too far away. People won't come. We've never done it before. You're here. Jenny. Take years building, and we can lose it overnight. Build it anyway. People need help, but if you do help them, they'll probably attack you. Help them anyway. If you give the world the best that you have, you'll probably get kicked in the teeth. But help the world anyway. It is my honor and great privilege to acknowledge a colleague who Ruben Franco and the Orange County Hispanic Chambers of Commerce have a long list of great accomplishments and contributions to their community and to our world. They have done good anyway. Ruben, and Roger,
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you to the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. It's quite an honor to receive this award. It's an honor to be here with Mr. Cheec, Marin, who's did a movie called Born in East LA, where I was born, so thank you for making that movie. I appreciate it. I also, one of my favorite movie lines of all time is when he's in Tin Cup and playing Romeo, and a passed out Kevin Costner, and he gives him a toast to, to Kevin, and here's to the finely tuned athlete on the verge of greatness. And from what I've heard, a few of you were pretty great last night. I'm truly blessed to get to work with, have a great family and get to work with a great board of directors, great members, great corporate partners. And I'm truly blessed over the years to have been part of the California Hispanic Chamber and get to know all of you. So thank you for being in my life, and I appreciate this recognition. Thank you.
¿Cómo estamos? ¿Están cansados? Nos falta algo de energía. I know it's been a long day. We have plenty of activities. I'll be telling you more about them later. But I wish again to thank you for being here and for moving forward on the issues that affect our community. In listening to our speakers, and I'll just take a second because I'm up here and I don't think they're going to be able to push me down before I finish. I want to challenge you in these times. Our speakers have mentioned the tough times for our community. A lot of the messages, a lot of the themes, a lot of the attacks. And although these are very difficult times, I think it's an opportunity and it's a challenge for all of us to get involved and to empower our community. So don't just cross your arms and complain about some of the challenges that we're facing today as a community. Help organize and make a change in your communities. Actor and activist, Mr. Cheec Marin, and the chairman of the Greater Riverside Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and a great friend, Emilio Ramirez. Gentlemen.
Hello again. First of all, I wanted to thank Julian and Juan and Chairman Montes and the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Sonoma County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Jenny and Raul. This is a great event. I'm very happy to be here. It's a great venue and nice place to be. So as you've already heard several times, as we already know, we live in some pretty interesting times, some difficult times, and I think that more than ever, it's our time to demonstrate our worth. Time to speak up, to speak out for ourselves. We cannot remain quiet, and we know that the sleeping giant is awake. We know that the Chicano community is engaged, and since we are engaged and involved, we bring jobs, we bring investments, we bring business to the economy. Some of the amazing numbers and dollar amounts that Hector just mentioned are a demonstration that the Chicano community and the Chicano business community brings what it always has to the local commercial retail, all the way through the global international trade. You, the business community, and the community of knowledgeable, hardworking Chicanos matter. We all matter. And so we're very proud to be here today to discuss an idea that promotes the Chicano community, the arts, the culture, and the industry that the talent in this room has made successful beyond limits. Our communities are pillars of economic development and the arts and the culture. Mr. Cheec Marin is here and excited to discuss why Chicano art is American art, why Chicano culture is mainstream culture, and why the Chicano industry drives the economy, not only in Riverside, not only in California, but throughout the nation, and in fact throughout the world. I want to introduce famous Cheec Marin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being invited here to address this august and chiloso body of guys and girls. In 2014, the United States Census Department issued the following information. In 2014, of all children born in the United States, 50.6% were Latino. That represents a majority, just on the face of it. And it goes to the theory that I have that we are like a lava flow. We're going to cover this whole country, and you can stand in front of a lava flow. I just wouldn't recommend it because we are all over. And I've been traveling this country for, God, almost 50 years in every state, in every city. And what I have seen is the inclusion of Latino culture wherever I go. Hector was talking about Kansas. Was it Kansas City, Kansas? Or where were you from? Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri. Oh, who knew? And just recently I was in Topeka, Kansas. Population around 375,000. There are more Mexican restaurants than there are McDonald's in Topeka, Kansas. over 50 Mexican restaurants in Topeka, Kansas. And if that's not indicative of the change that our country is going through, then there is no change. There's nothing else to quantify it. That represents small business. Trump is saying, you know, if we keep this immigration thing going, there's going to be a taco truck on every corner. Mira tonto, there is a taco truck on every corner. That's the only bad thing about democracy. Every once in a while it coughs up a hairball, you know? But he's like gas, he will pass. It's going to smell bad, and you're going to have a stomach ache, and people want to get away from you, but it will pass, it will pass. But it's going to require effort, and these small businesses are everywhere that we go. There's 50 Mexican restaurants in Topeka, Kansas. Who knew, you know? But that's happening all over the country. You know, I'm writing a series of essays right now about this whole situation. How about the change of America? And it's called "We Come in Peace and We Have You Surrounded." You can stand in front of the lava flow. I just wouldn't recommend it because Chicano culture is American culture. We represent the mainstream now, and I keep reiterating that in every talk I give. You are the mainstream. Start thinking like you are the mainstream, and all the rights and duties that accrue to you because of that, you should take seriously and feel that they belong to you, because they do. We are going to be not anytime soon, but soon enough, the majority in this country. How do we behave? That's the question. How do we behave with the power of the majority? There is businesses wherever we go, and it's just not in California, in the Southwest. It's in the Mexicans are the largest Latino population in New York City right now. Fíjate nomás. Because when I first started going to New York City in the early 70s, there were no Mexicans there, man. You know, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, but Mexicans are now the biggest group of all those combined. You know, so there's just a change happening wherever we go, and there's a large Chicano community in Hawaii, Alaska, or any other place you want to go to, because I've been collecting Chicano art for 30 years and touring it in every place from the Smithsonian to Laramie, Wyoming, you know, and I see this movement growing and growing, and how do we integrate ourselves into the largest society and claim that we are the largest society? And we are the largest society right now, and we have to get all the benefits that accrue to that. It's a day that I didn't know would come, you know, and I didn't know would come this fast, because I started collecting Chicano art, and what I realized right away is that Chicano art is American art, you know? It is just as valid as Hudson River Valley School or Ashcan School or pop art or any of those things that came after. We are an American school of art that really defines what America is. And you know, ooh, nicely. Otra mojada. You can dress them up, but you can't take them off. I'm here for a very definite purpose, because recently I've been offered a museum in Riverside, California by the city of Riverside. It is to be named the Marin Center for Chicano Art, Culture, and Industry. And it will represent Chicano culture throughout the world. We have been given the town library, a wonderful mid-century building that is absolutely fantastic, and in cooperation with the city and with the Riverside Art Museum. And we're going to build a great foundation there that's going to travel all over the world. I've been doing that for the last 30 years. And now we're going to really explode because it's going to be central. But central to that is the need for support from everybody, from all of you, all the business, especially all the business leaders, to help us raise the money in order to refurbish and to provide programs as we go forward. Because it is almost the definition of what America looks like today. And it's not a history lesson. First, they came from the cane fields. You know, it represents the sabor of our community, the taste, the feel. And as we all know, from show business or from politics, image is everything. How we are perceived is everything. And it colors how people relate to us. With the Cheec Marin Center for, I'm going to call it just the Cheec. At the Cheec. We'll have tacos too. But it's going to be a wonderful journey, and I just I hope I live long, you know. I want to see this thing really take off. But it already has. I've been touring this country for 35 years now with this collection, and we've played every single place. And the thing that I noticed, whatever museum that we show this collection at, it breaks attendance records. Not only from the Smithsonian, we did almost 1 million people at the Smithsonian, to Laramie, Wyoming, when half the town turned out to see us. And we'll keep going because every generation of young Chicano artists define what's happening in their community. And so it's news from the front all the time. And it keeps going and going. Not only what they represent for the community, but the art that they leave behind. We are fortunate to come from a culture that values art. And values art as speaking for our community. Art is the only thing we leave behind as a culture. You know, as far as I know, there's no museum dedicated to the art of the deal. There may be, but I doubt it. But after hundreds and even thousands of years, people still visit the pyramids and the Mona Lisa, and they go to Spain to see Guernica, because art represents who we are as a culture, our values, who we love, what we strive for, and our definition of ourselves and our souls. So please, if you can, see your way to help us with the Cheec Marin Center for Chicano Art History Culture in the city of Riverside. And please, we're going to make this an international destination. So we need all your help. And thank you very much for inviting me here today.
In terms of the project, so I have a question. Do we have a date when we expect to have an opening, or are we still working on logistics and on the necessary fundraising? And again, I'm not going to be the one asking the questions. If anybody has a question, now is your chance.
Thank you very much. Within, I think, 2 years or 3 years, we have to raise a certain amount of money in order to refurbish the building. It's a 66,000 square foot building. I mean, and it's a classic mid-century building. It's beautiful. And we're going to turn it from a library into an art museum. There's a certain amount of money we have to have. We've already gotten $1 million from the state. Thank you very much, state. We have to carve it out from them, but as you all know, trying to get money from the state. But we will raise that money, and we're going to turn Riverside into the next big art town in the world. and they're going to come from everywhere. So we need all your help. Within, I think, at the outside, within the next 3 years, probably less than that, the doors will open and you'll be able. The museum is going to be anchored by my collection, which is going to reside there in the city of Riverside. And I'm gathering other collections to come there and reside there, and it'll keep on going. And we're going to spread not only art, but academia, everything that is involved with Chicano culture today. We're going to really spread up because Riverside is poised to do that. In 1980, Riverside was the richest city in the United States from citrus. Every citrus, every orange, lime, lemon, grapefruit was grown in Riverside. 7, 8 presidents have stayed in the Riverside Inn, or the Mission Inn. All of them, all the presidents, from slave owning George Washington to But come and enjoy it with us because it's going to be a big party and a big, interesting, intellectual party, and you're all going to be part of it.
Do you take pesos?
Where's the question out there?
You take pesos?
Do I take this? Anything you got, brother. You know?
So if anyone should have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you.
Okay, you don't need a microphone. Check out people. Huh? Thank you very much.
If somebody wants to make a donation, where can we get that information?
Just give it to me, I'll give it to you. Cash preferably.
Thank you, David. So the Riverside Art Museum is the one that's going to be curating the museum, and this is really a partnership between Cheec, who donated his collection, and being operated by the Art Museum in the city of Riverside, who donated the property and contributing to the operations. And Drew, the executive director of the Riverside Art Museum, is here, and we have a booth just outside right here that can show more information. In fact, there are some cards on your chair that's talking about the project, and we would very much like to talk to you and engage in conversation going forward. You can doctor today, and just join us at the booth just outside.
So Emilio, in addition to being part of the Hispanic Chamber, he also works for the city of Riverside. So he would be the person to address some of your questions to as well. Thank you.
Question. Past president of Sonoma County in 1992, I'd like to give the first $100 donation coming for this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And that's what it's going to take, donations like that. I sat on the board of the Hispanic Scholarship Fund for many years. They graduated me to emeritus status because I raised questions they didn't want to answer. But the big difference, I was sitting on these board meetings, you know, and statistic after statistic, you know, they put you to sleep. And then one statistic woke me up, you know, and I said, you know, the United Negro College Fund raises almost 70% of their budget by individual donations. People sending in $100, $20, $5. Almost 70% of their, you know, of the United Negro College Fund. And I said, well, how much does HSF raise? 4%. And that shook me. I mean, it just shook me to my core. Like, what? We're the most generous people in the world. And we depend on corporate America. Every year we go hand in hand to them to ask for donations to. And why are we not empowering our community to do this? And this is very important. We have to empower our community so they have a stake in this. You know, so they feel that they have a stake in it and they're part of this. That this museum will grow out of their pride and ambition. So we ask for your donations. I don't care what denomination it is, whether it's 2 cents. You're going to put your 2 cents in for Chicano culture because Chicano culture is American culture. First $100. This comes from El Doctor Chingon. Dr. Bill Uriarte, DC.
I know there's more of you here with more money than I have.
This is a challenge.
Here we go.
Oh, thank you very much. From Frontier.
Cheec, I want this to happen fast, so I'm going to give you cash so that it happens fast. Okay? Thank you very much. This has got to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, we up to the challenge and challenge all the chamber members, another 100 for the Hispanic Chamber in San Francisco.
Latino Coalition. What we like to do is we like to invite you to Kansas City, Missouri, where we're going to have the 40th anniversary event, and we'll help you raise the money. We'll present a crowd as big as this or bigger. And that's going to be October 12th, so you'll be our guest, and we'll make it happen. And if you want to come to Washington, D.C. to pitch, go with Trompudo. Right? we have our event there on the 14th of September. And it's going to be right at the Ronald Reagan building, so we'll have a huge audience. Thank you. But Kansas City, for sure. Okay.
I think I got a couple more questions. But, my name is Amanda Ayala with Cheec. Get out of my way. Thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you. My pleasure. It was really my pleasure.
I'm an artist,
Uh-huh.
and I answer the phones for a newspaper. And I look at all this stuff going on in the news, and your website is on my bookmarks, you know?
Thank you.
So when I'm getting yelled at,
Thank you very much.
it's just an inspiration, you know? So, you're the only reason why I came here today.
You're only human.
But I do have a question for you. I live here in Santa Rosa, so I'm from Sonoma County, and I travel to San Jose, and I go to LA, and I go to Oakland, and San Francisco, and I'm going to all these amazing art centers, and I'm hoping that we can start building something like this in our area, For my parents, they love it that I make art, but they also want me to have a career, and have something that's stable. And so how is it that you were able to, build the funding and, get the support from the Riverside community to start this project? And how would you encourage other communities to do that as well? Because I know that business is and there's a lot of other ways that we can be making money and things like that, but I just feel like the arts are so important. So how would you encourage all of the people here, not just to be thinking about personal businesses, but just in communities, what would you suggest?
Well, the way it happened for me with Riverside is they came to me. I did an art show in Riverside, Papel Chicano 2. And it was such a hit, it drew 4 times the amount of people that I'd ever had in the museum. And they had this building that they needed to repurpose because they were building a new library, and they had this other building that they had to do something with. It's right in the center of town, right on the main street, right next to the Mission Inn and next to the Riverside Art Museum. So it's like optimally positioned. And they said, we can build a wonderful museum here if you can anchor it. And so I thought for a minute, really? Wow! I mean, what is it going to cost me? It's not going to cost you anything. We're going to give it to you. Oh, really? I'll take 2. It's like, wow, this is good. And at first I didn't know what they were talking about. You know, really, they came to me with this a 5 full-color, 10-page brochure that they had whipped up overnight. And this is what it's poised in Riverside, which is the county seat for the Inland Empire. 4.2 million people, over 50% of them are Chicanos. And it's a big giant. It's going to keep growing. And it's a beautiful town. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever been.
It is beautiful.
It is a beautiful town. And at first I didn't know what they were tweeting out. I just know we want you to have this museum for the collection and to show everybody else. Because I realized very early in this process, I've been collecting and entering, that the reason I was collecting this art, and I didn't know it at the time, is to share it with everybody. Because it's not going to do me any good in storage or in my house or under my bed or against that. But to show the people and empower them with a vision of who and what they are and where they can go is the purpose of this collection. And it's going to keep growing and growing until it will be recognized as one of the most powerful movements in art in the United States ever. And it is occurring right now. And we have now a center for it to be where everybody can come and see it. And I'm just like so thrilled. So we're doing everything we can to build not only the art part of it, but all the outlying cultural identifications with it. And so that we can really position Riverside as the next big art town. And that's what we're involved in doing. So thank you very much for your question. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
We're running short on time, but I know that Emilio Ramirez with the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Riverside wishes to address.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for the excitement and starting the donations. It's an amazing thing. So, Honorable Cheec, thank you. Thank you for your advocacy and for your heart and for your donation, which has been amazing. I know that we're out of time, and I just wanted to invite everybody to a conversation. All of my what's up?
You'll enjoy this. Steve Figueroa with the Greater Riverside and McGuire Brothers.
Yes.
You want to announce it? Me or what?
Real quick, guys, I know that we have a schedule to adhere to, but real quick, as you were sitting down and talking about the history of Hispanic art, right? I just thought it'd be a great idea that because the lowriders are huge. It's a huge part of our culture, right? And I was talking to Steve. I'm like, it would actually be awesome if we'd be honored to do this for you. I mean, however you guys want to do it, 2 different ways. We'd be more than glad to donate a 1964 Super Sport Impala.
I have just the garage for it.
And you know what? We have very deep roots in the lowrider industry. We can actually get together with the Diablo family out of Pomona. Have very deep roots. They're just a work of art. We'll get together with them. We'll create the 1964 Super Sport Impala for the Cheec Marine Museum, and then we'll give you guys the option whether or not to either auction it off for donation or decide to put it in the museum.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I very much would like to invite everybody to the conversation. We're going to be here in the booth this year. After lunch, tomorrow, next month, please call me, and both Cheech and I and Drew and the City of Riverside and the community of Riverside will be here ready to answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations to all our awardees, and we thank Emilio Ramirez and Mr. Marin for their efforts in bringing and highlighting art. Our program has closed for today, but I want to remind you of what's going on later so that we can continue to build our relationships. A few people approached me and asked, who are you with? My office is in Riverside. I'm an attorney by trade. They just like to have me MC. And I'm very glad to be here. We are having the Millennials and Innovation panel in the Vineyard Room. We're having the Business, Procurement, and Matchmaking in the Chardonnay Room. I love these names. We're having the Hispanic Shark Tank in the salon, in Salon 3 and 4. And then finally, I know you're going to be there, the white party, which seems weird to have a white party at the Hispanic convention. We're having a white party, and I look forward to seeing everybody. Congratulations again, and thank you for the opportunity to be a host.